Are your own, but just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily Podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen. Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle. Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
All right, everybody. Greetings and welcome. Man, my voice is shot. It's not like I even have that great of a voice. Welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Couple of ways you can get a hold of me. 407-270-3044. Once again, that's 407-270-3044. If you don't want to call in live, then you can easily leave me a voicemail. And if you'd like to call in, send me an email, tuddle@gmail.com. That's Tuddle with two D's, TUDDLE @gmail.com. Got a lot of great news stories coming up today. I got Casey Desantis's political ad. The Parkland shooter was sentenced today. Alex Jones is going to have to drop $1 billion. He's not going to pay anything. Thank God for not having debtors jail here in the United States. And also, first story I wanted to get into is the Tomahawk Chop, but I mentioned earlier that you can leave me voicemails and stuff. I do have a voicemail here. Let me see. Uh-oh. You there? Oh, not available. Here, let's try this one.
Hello, Tuddle. It's DR. Just want to let you know I thought your idea of putting all the interviews as standalones is great. Maybe they could all be put together into, 3, 4, 5 hours continuous listening. Also, any thoughts about doing a Halloween podcast?
I did. Thank you, DR. One of the most spiritual towns in the whole United States is Casadega. It's in Volusia County near Lake Helen. I should go out there and do a lot of content. Go out there. Is that something you guys would even be interested in? If I went out and interviewed some witches, interviewed some psychics. They also got a thing out there in one of the graveyards called Devil's Chair. And a lot of kids go out there to sit on it on Halloween night. But it is a very interesting town. And I might do that. Thank you, DR.
Some other shows.
All right. Thank you, DR. So what DR is talking about, I'm going back through and I'm pulling and I'm isolating. I'm isolating the interviews that I've done. And I will definitely going to start doing that a little bit more. Haas 83, maybe you should camp overnight at Devil's Chair. I can see that. Fozzie, record yourself going through a corn maze. Is there any corn mazes in Central Florida? Because I will do that. If anybody can point me into the direction of a corn maze, I would love to go to a corn maze. I would. Fozzie also wrote, since you missed yesterday, do we get a 2-hour gimmick? No. I had some stuff come up yesterday. Colton is coming over this weekend. And then, my mom, she finally got out her feeding tube. So that's good because she's putting on all the weight now from when she was in the hospital. But Colton's coming over, and I just wanted to clean up from all the hurricane stuff. I had to, some projects that I've been putting off. I took care of those. So that's why I was busy, and that's why I did not do a show yesterday. I do apologize. A lot of people, look, I don't want anybody to think that I don't root for the Rays. I do root for the Rays. I do. But I grew up watching Braves baseball was everything. You know, growing up in the 90s, people, we did not have the MLB ticket where you could watch any single game you wanted to. You just could not do it. Fozzie, I couldn't agree with you anymore. The Rays are playoff paper tiger. They are. They were what we thought they were. I think they scored 1 run in about 22 innings because that second game went to like 16 innings. But in the 90s, there were, if you wanted to watch baseball on a regular basis, there were 2 teams that you could root for. You could root for the Atlanta Braves because that was on TBS. Atlanta Braves, TBS. And then the Chicago Cubs on WGN. By the way, the day that Kerry Wood struck out 20-plus batters in a game against the Houston Astros, it was a half day. It was a half day, and I got home, and I watched Kerry Wood, a rookie, strike out 20-plus batters against the Houston Astros. Watched it from beginning to end with my mom. But the Braves, though, the Braves were America's team in the 90s because the Braves were horrible. And then in 91, they started getting good. They started getting better. And that was the birth of the Tomahawk Chop. Now, they don't sell the foam tomahawks anymore. And I'm going to show you a video here. Hold on. I'm gonna add this here. So, and hold on. So, let me ask you, the music in the Tomahawk Chop, is that copywritten? Is that, if I play this audio of the Braves audience doing the Tomahawk, you know what? Here, how about this? Oh, the crime dog. Fozzie, I was a Fred McGriff mark. That guy had that helicopter swing. He did. And the crime dog, Fred McGriff, was like, oh my God. I mean, the pitching alone will win you a World Series, but I'll go through that. But I would like to, am I going to get you know what? I'm playing it. I don't care. So they don't have the Tomahawk Chop, foam tomahawks anymore. So everybody uses their phones. I think this school is fun. I really do. Now, how many drunk Braves fans, because they turn the light on their phone and they use it as the tomahawk. How many drunk dudes have accidentally thrown their phone and absolutely destroyed it? Garbaged it right away. Because these guys have been beering up way before the game. I know they don't do a lot of tailgating, but you know, some of the guys that are going to Braves games, they're gonna fill up on the Natty lights or the Busch lights or Old Milwaukee, whatever it may be. They're gonna get primed up, and they'll probably buy one $10 or $15 beer when they're there. So I decided while I was watching the Braves game, they did win last night. It was a great game, but because I know everybody was going to have a problem with it. I know that everybody was going to have a problem with it. So I searched on Twitter while watching the Braves game, Tomahawk Chop. Oh my God, you would not believe the bullshit that was going on the hashtag Tomahawk Chop. I think this is pretty cool. By the way, Florida State Seminoles do it. Also, a lot of people don't know this. Around the time, prime time, around the time Deion Sanders got drafted into the NFL and Major League Baseball, was when the Braves started doing the Tomahawk Chop. It started in 91, and I got one of the original stories in 91 talking about the Tomahawk Chop. But Deion Sanders was the one that brought the Tomahawk Chop to the Atlanta Braves. Oh, dude, I used to love it when Fozzie says Bobby Cox was a fabulous manager. Yes, absolutely. And I love to see him get thrown out of games. He went full shoot on people. So I got the original story in 91 when the Braves finally became good. But everybody is upset about the Tomahawk Chop. Now, I'm not Native American, and I absolutely understand. I might not be able to see it from the other side. But, wow, I know, well, maybe one thing I would have a problem with. Do you realize that the Braves used to have a guy? I don't even know if he was Native American. I don't even know if they made him, it was a Caucasian they made up to be, to look like a Native American, but their mascot was Chief Naka, Noca, Homa. Chief Naka Homa. Now, I could see where people would have a problem with that. But like the reason that people had a lot of problems with the Cleveland Indians was because of the caricature logo that they wore on the hats and stuff. The Redskins, yeah, I could see, but a Brave. Well, let's look into the words. Definition. A Brave is an Indian warrior, correct? It's actually kind of marking out to it. Yeah, Haas, thank you. I just said that. Haas 83 says, but Brave is something positive, not a supposed derogatory term for Indian. Redskin, derogatory. Chief Wahoo for the Indians. Yeah, I can see where that's offensive. Brave is kind of, the term Brave, Atlanta Braves baseball team is kind of marking out to the Indian tribes. I think the one out of the three people that still use the Tomahawk Chop, the Seminoles, the Braves, and the Kansas City Chiefs, the Florida State Seminoles have the most right to it. Because the Seminole tribe of Florida actually gets paid from FSU. They are in full support of it. But here is the original story. Look at some of the outfits here. Oh, listen to the organ player. It's so cheesy. I love it.
You've got to admit, it's a catchy little tune. As the season went along, the Atlanta Braves Tomahawk Chop spread like wildfire through the stands. Do you think maybe that it brought the Braves a little bit of luck this year by any chance?
This guy's got some Jeffrey Dahmer glasses on. Look at that hair. He's got a curly mullet. He's got a mullet perm.
Fan support's been great. Ever since Tomahawk Chop started, more fans been showing up to do it.
Since Tomahawk Chop showed up, more fans have just showed up how to do it. Coo-coo.
There are different sizes, colors, and forms to choose. The key is to have one. When the season started for the Atlanta Braves, you could get away with doing the Tomahawk Chop like this, but nowadays you've got to have the real thing if you want to help the Braves.
I tell you, Christy Deer could have got it back in the day. She already got a pearl necklace there, but
get the win. Yeah. Come on, you guys.
Okay. this is why I wanted to play this story. So this guy's got a screen press. You guys, when I lived at Clem Racing Incorporated, I was making T-shirts after I got done with the radio show. But this gives me flashbacks of being in that T-shirt printing room. By the way, I did meet Deion Sanders while printing T-shirts. But let's be honest, and this is not a shot at Bubba, but let's be honest. If Bubba was a morning show host in Atlanta, I repeat, if Bubba was a morning show host in Atlanta back in 91, 92, Bubba could have retired in the 90s, because bet your ass that Bubba the Love Sponge, Bubba Rockin' Clem, would have been making foam tomahawks. And of course, you would have had the Bubba the Love Sponge logo on them and stuff. But this, Bubba would have been all over the foam tomahawk business. He would have had that cornered. This guy, yeah, Bubba would make this guy's bitch.
This small shop in Griffin, Georgia capitalized on the Braves' success. When everyone had to have a tomahawk in hand, they delivered.
We're cutting.
Tuddle, you're going too slow. Braves got a playoff game tomorrow. I don't do a great Bubba impersonation, but hurry it up. What's the heat on the oven? Bubba would bring out this like little heat reader that local race car drivers would bring to the track to see what the heat temperature is. He would use that to see what the heat on. And you could only use the right side of the oven. The left side, it burned a little lighter than the right side. I wonder what the temp would have to be on one of these foam tomahawks. Man, Bubba would be a millionaire.
Foam 24 hours a day. We're printing product 24 hours a day. We're shipping 24 hours a day.
So it's nonstop, right? And all because the Braves.
Bubba, we could have done these. Bubba, we could have easily done these foam tomahawks. We would have been tomahawk millionaires. I mean, we might have gotten sued by the Indian tribes, but who cares? I feel pretty safe if I'm a part of the Bubba the Love Sponge lawsuit, because I think Bubba's undefeated.
Are winning.
Absolutely nonstop, and the only people I have to thank are the Braves.
We could have done way better quality than this.
The foam tomahawks may be the safest to handle, but there's one thing for certain. They've all helped turn this into one happy tomahawk town.
You knew that they just had to go. One happy tomahawk town. Look, I know that some people are offended by it, but man, people were up in arms on Twitter about this yesterday. It just was crazy. Fozzie, if you will, in 1996, the Olympic bombing went down in Atlanta, furthering America's love affair with Atlanta, in my opinion. Have any of you guys watched that Richard Jewell movie? Fozzie brings that up about the Olympic bombing. Richard Jewell was railroaded. And I promise you, the reason that Richard Jewell died of a heart attack was because of all the attention. And from what I'm reading, the movie was pretty historically correct. And after I watched that movie, like, I was always willing to help law enforcement. I don't want anybody to think that I hate law enforcement, because I don't. But what I'm trying to say is that even if you're innocent, there's a lot of people say, "Oh, how come you don't want to talk to the cops? You must have did it. You must have something to hide." No, I want my lawyer. I mean, Fozzie, the guy wanted to be a police officer. And one of the things in the movie that they talked about is that why would anybody get involved? Because in all reality, Richard Jewell saved a lot of lives. Because that backpack was, the guy had it in the direction that it was going to spray all the shrapnel, nails and ball bearings and stuff and hit a large amount of the crowd. Do you know who was performing when that bomb went off on stage in Centennial Park? Kenny motherfucking Rogers. Kenny Rogers was performing when the bomb went off. It's just Richard Jewell saved Kenny Rogers' life, not the baseball pitcher. I'm talking about the guy that we all know was having sex with Dolly Parton. Islands in the Stream, you know that they wrote that after making hot, sweet, passionate love with each other. Yeah, I mean, if we would have lost Kenny Rogers back in 1996, come on, man. Yeah, they would have stopped. They probably would not have stopped the Olympics, but there would have been so many like Olympic runners, like Michael Johnson when he broke the 200 and 400 meter records. He'd be like, this gold medal for Kenny Rogers, the OG gambler. Got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. But yeah, Richard Jewell got completely hosed on that. But I love Atlanta. Atlanta's one of my favorite towns that I love Atlanta. I do. It's just a very, very great town. All right. So I want to talk about something here. And
who is Ron DeSantis?
I do not support any political party. I don't support Republicans, Democrats. They've stopped working for us a long time ago. I call it as I see it. I'll give you an example. Not the biggest fan of Ron DeSantis. Not the biggest fan of Joe Biden. Not a fan of Trump. But Casey DeSantis did this commercial. And Fozzie, I'll agree with you. I will agree with you. This commercial is a home run cousin. And the reason why it took me so long to finally pull the trigger to talk about it, I had to figure out how I was going to talk about it without seeming like the bad guy. Because you know that I'm going to get spun to look like the bad guy.
Well, he's the kid who grew up here in Florida.
Ron DeSantis did an amazing job. I think he did an amazing job with the hurricane response. He also was very cordial with President Biden when he was there. Wasn't political, wasn't any of that stuff. It was just, let's get it done. Ron DeSantis did a great job with Hurricane Ian. I really think he did. He's gotten a lot of money to help restore the Indian River, the intercoastal here on the east coast of Florida. He's doing that. Now, there's been some stuff that I haven't agreed with that he's done. And that goes with any of them. I call it, I'd never go down political lines. Now, I got to say, Ron DeSantis, by the way, not only did Ron DeSantis do a great job with the hurricane response, Casey, his wife, Casey DeSantis, did a amazing job helping raise money for the recovery of state of Florida. Now, this is a brilliant ad. It's working smart. Because most people that are voters, they let their emotions get in. They're not logical. They're not logical. They don't see through the smoke and mirrors. And stuck in Dion's tub. I mean, stuck in Dion's tub. Or did you hear what I said about Ron DeSantis? Like, I don't want anybody to think that I'm completely bashing Ron DeSantis. And I'm not. I'm just kind of pulling back the mirror or the curtain a little bit for you guys. Ron DeSantis is smart. This is a brilliant commercial. It's brilliant commercial. So stuck in Dion's tub. I talked about that. So here, let me recap it. I said stuck in Dion's tub. I thought Ron DeSantis handled the hurricane situation better than any governor has ever handled a natural disaster. He's on point. He got stuff done. I know a lot of people wanted to make fun of him. I know a lot of people wanted to say, oh, he was just doing his job. That's what he's supposed to do. He swallowed the politics when Biden came to town. He got it done. We all know that he doesn't like Biden, but guess what? He played ball to help out Florida citizens. But so what I want to talk about with this ad with Casey DeSantis, wonderful woman. I've not heard a bad word about Casey DeSantis. She's beautiful. She is, Iggy T, that is Ron DeSantis' wife. And I'm not saying anything bad about her, but so last year, Casey DeSantis was fighting cancer. I felt bad for her because, if I'm being honest, my mom has had cancer 3 times in my life. My mom's had cancer 3 times in her life. I've done a lot of stuff for fundraising for cancer. I'm not making fun of cancer or people that have had cancer. See, I got to cover my ass because of cancel culture and everything. But I'm going to play this commercial, and I'm going to break it down for you, okay? I just had to preface what I was about to talk about.
I get asked all the time, who is Ron DeSantis?
Can I critique it? It is brilliant, but she should have went like this.
I get asked all the time, who is Ron DeSantis?
So the script writers should have said, I get asked all the time who my husband, Ron DeSantis, is. And they got the sappy music and everything. But, like I said, I think this is a brilliant commercial.
Well, he's the kid who grew up right here in Florida.
That's good. He's a Florida cracker. That's a nice-ass bass little Ron DeSantis caught there.
Working his tail off, paying his own way.
Oh, he was a pitcher, too. He was a righty.
Way through school.
Oh, Fozzie, come on. You know that Ron DeSantis got a big penis. You know he does. Probably got to.
Then volunteering to serve.
Guy looks good in a uniform. It's kind of hard to make the seaman uniform look, rocket as much as you can the other ones.
In the Navy and deploying to Iraq. He's the man who I fell in love with from the...
Oh, see, he even wore the white uniform, too. See, that's the thing about wearing a white uniform. Like I'd have shit all over that.
The moment we met. And he's the dad of 3 very rambunctious,
they got beautiful kids.
Energetic children. Mamie, our 2-year-old little comedian. Madison, our beautiful, sweet 5-year-old. And Mason, our 4-year-old athlete.
Oh, okay. Well, look. I don't support any politician. This is where, all right. I really feel like we've gotten to a point in this country that we're politicizing cancer. Because everything that Casey DeSantis is about to say, I'm glad that Ron did this for you. I'm glad he did it for you.
But if you want to know who Ron DeSantis really is, when I was diagnosed with cancer and I was facing the battle for my life, he was the dad who took care of my children when I couldn't.
Okay. Wouldn't it make him the biggest, shittiest person in the world if he didn't? Isn't that what a husband is supposed to do? I'm just saying. Does this make him? Because like I said, you know what? If he didn't do it, it definitely makes him a shitty person. But come on, Casey Desantis isn't going to come out and be like, yeah, Ron, he didn't take care of me one bit when I had cancer. Yeah, I mean, Fauci brings up a great point. It's in the vows, through sickness and through health, till death do us part. So, well, Haas, that is my point. He's just doing what any husband should be doing. Why is this a part of a political ad? Even though I could be the biggest Ron DeSantis hater, never in a million years of that. Yeah, Ron did not fucking lift a finger to help his wife that had cancer. Why? I would love to hear from you guys. Am I being a dick or unreasonable here? Or is this just pandering? This is the biggest pandering job that I've ever heard in my life. He did what most husbands should do.
He was there to pick me off of the ground when I literally could not stand. He was there to fight for me when
Wonder how many takes this took.
I didn't have the strength to fight for myself. That is who Ron DeSantis.
Once again, you should have said, that's who my husband, Ron DeSantis, is. Talking about Ron, you're calling him Ron DeSantis like he's not even your husband.
DeSantis is.
That is who Ron DeSantis is. Please, I would love to hear from you. Please, call in 407-270-3044. I would love to hear. Am I being unreasonable? Am I being a dick? I mean, I never in a million years would I think, oh, yeah, Ron DeSantis didn't take care of his wife that had cancer. No. He did what every common, decent husband is supposed to do. Take care of your sick wife. It makes me feel a little weird that we're using somebody's cancer journey to get somebody elected. Here, I'll also talk about this too. And I'm not talking about any particular sheriff. I have a problem with Florida sheriffs, any county sheriff, doing a political ad for a politician. And I know sheriffs get elected too. I have a problem with a sheriff wearing his uniform to do a political ad supporting somebody. I got a big problem with that. I'll call somebody out. The Brevard sheriff. I don't even remember his name. I saw him on some political ad supporting. I don't even remember who it was. He's got his Brevard County Sheriff's Office uniform on. I have a little bit of a problem with that. There's got to be some type of rules. There just has to be. So if you guys want to call in, you can. I'm not, look, I am so sympathetic. Like I said, mom's been through cancer 3 times. And I'm sorry that Casey DeSantis had to go through it. But, I mean, Ron DeSantis did what every halfway decent husband should do. He'd be a complete shitbag if he did not take care of his wife. There were Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Haas, you bring up a great point. Is it worse when they support a political candidate that's not in their area? Yes, it is. Here, hold on. Maybe the sheriff responds slower to a robbery call for a dim than a GOP. Thank you, Fozzie. But Haas, let me go back to your comment. Haas said, is it worse when they support a political candidate that's not in their area? Thank you for bringing that up. I had that thought the other day. Why is a Florida state senator, Rick Scott Skeletor, in Georgia campaigning for Herschel Walker? And it's not because I don't like Herschel Walker, but why is a state senator that's supposed to be working for us out campaigning for another state senator that's not even in Florida? It blows my mind. Shouldn't Rick Scott be worried about what's going on in Florida and not what's going on in Georgia? This is why we're so screwed in this country politically. Because it's all about the political wins. The Republicans got to take control of the House. Even though Georgia people didn't elect you, Rick Scott. It's just mind-blowing. And I had no reason why I could explain Rick Scott was up campaigning for Herschel Walker. Well, Angry Itch, I'll agree with you. Crazy Democrats, crazy Republicans. I mean, let's call it both ways. Let me ask you, Angry Itch, is there any Republicans you dislike? Or would you, even if you hated a Republican candidate and you hated everything he stood for, would you still vote for him? That's the predicament we're in here in the United States. Yeah, Fozzie. Fozzie brings up a great point. You know how many times I could go to Tampa, not have to drive on the most dangerous road, the most dangerous road in the United States, and I could have taken the monorail from Orlando to Tampa? Yeah, count me in on that. And see, right there, Angry Itch just proved my point. Nothing's ever going to get done when we're just voting down political line. There's just nothing's going to change. Today, the Parkland shooter
was not the most.
The Parkland shooter kind of sort of got sentenced. Now, the jury sentenced him to life in prison, but the judge did not get a chance to give her sentence today because the prosecution wanted the victims, the survivors and stuff, the families to be able to get up and say what they want to. And I guess it is some type of Florida statute that allows people to do that. And I think it might have been changed, but isn't the jury's sentencing verdict just a recommendation? Doesn't a judge in the state of Florida that is overhearing a death penalty case, can't the judge go against what the jury recommended, which was life in prison? Because I think that in the state of Florida, you used to be, as a judge, you could go against the sentencing phase. I mean, Haas, I think you're right. Judge has the final say. So maybe that's why the prosecution wanted witnesses to get up and talk, because you might be able to sway the judge. Man, this was heartbreaking.
If this was not the most perfect death penalty case, then why do we have the death penalty at all?
Reaction is pouring into today's big.
And by the way, the prison issued eyewear that they give people that need eyeglasses are the worst. They make you look like the biggest scumbag. Who, me? I got the first. I got the original vaccination, Moderna. I got the Moderna, and I got the booster. I didn't get any more after that. I'm not doing it. I'm just not. But man, they really do give you guys some bad glasses. Okay, so capital punishment. See, I'm being very selfish. If somebody killed a family member of mine or a loved one or a really good friend, of course I would want them to die. I would. But I would want to do it myself. If I could get to him first or I could take him out, I would. But once the trial starts, because I'll give you my reasoning. The death penalty and capital punishment does not work. It doesn't work. I'll give you an example. My friend Derek, I grew up with two best friends, Howard and Derek. Derek's brother, back in 1994, freshman year, Derek's brother, Douglas, was murdered. He was murdered along with a friend of the family. He was murdered. So his brother was murdered. Back in 1994. It's 2022. That guy is still on death row. Still on death row. He's still on death row. Now, if I did something to deserve the death penalty and I had a choice, they're like, Tuddle, we're going to give you life in prison or the death penalty. Guess what my ass is taking? Shoot me up with the juice. And if you don't want to give me the juice, I'll take old Sparky that you guys had. Let's go old school. Strap me into the chair. Let's get at this. Let's do it. Give me the big shaved head, shave my pubes. Let me get that last meal, which is going to be something that's going to be very messy. Oh, final sloppy joes and chili. Bet your ass. I want to leave a mess for them to at least clean up. But being on death row or being in life in prison, your life's over with. It's over with. And I think that's worse. It's worse to be locked up in prison for the rest of your life. You are a caged animal. Rapings every day, possibilities of getting shanked. No, give me the juice. You can hang me. Firing squad. Do what I will commit Harry Carey. I will straight up do it like the Japanese did back in the day, and I will stick a small samurai blade right into my stomach. I would do it. But the death penalty doesn't work. It just doesn't. Because then they get all these appeals, and then every time the appeal comes up, it's back in the news, and the family members all have to go through this. I mean, yeah, this guy deserves to die. And guess what? This guy, he's not going to be in general population. He's going to be in protective custody. It might as well be solitary confinement. And he's not going to have any life because if you put this guy in Gen Pop, he is not going to last long. He's going to be killed. He's going to be killed after they pass him around as currency for about 3 months. And then once they waller, you know what, out, then they'll dispatch him. But I don't know what these family members are going through. I just don't.
decision, a decision that took more than 4 years since that deadly day on campus back on February 14th, 2018. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Julie Broughton. This is News 6 at 4. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Ginger Gadsden. The Valentine's Day mass.
How would you like to be in that triple stack of a sandwich? This would be the perfect sexual Big Mac. Big Mac has 3 buns. I don't know what I'd pick. You know what? That whole analogy does not work. You got Julie Broughton, Caucasian. You got Lisa Bell, a little Spanish flavor. And then you got Ginger Gadsden. Oh, yes. I mean, come on. Who would this is the most sexually non-racist. Yeah, I mean, this right here, you are hitting a lot of the cultures here. Man, and a lot of these, 2 out of 3 does follow me on Twitter.
Forever changed school security across Florida.
Yeah, this is what do they call it? You know, the strawberry chocolate vanilla. Isn't that Neapolitan? Yeah, Neapolitan. This is the Neapolitan sexual 3-way here. It is. Sign me up. Give me some scoops.
Prompting lawmakers to pass the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Safety Act. And today's outcome is met with anger among family. The Broward County Public Defense says the community must respect the jury's verdict is final. Christian Benavides.
Wait, hold on. Let me go back. So I guess not.
Is met with anger among family. The Broward County Public Defense says the community must respect the jury's verdict.
All right, so, well, then this is going to be, let's be honest, this kid's going to have to sit there while the family, this is rough, but I got to tell you, this is some must-see TV. I mean, I feel bad that the family members have to go through it, but man, oh man, this is going to be about an hour and a half, 2 hours of family members just cutting promos. And by the way, in the courtroom, I had never seen that many sheriffs in a small, confined courtroom. They were making sure nobody was getting to this guy.
Is final. Christian Benavides reports from outside the courthouse. And
guess what? Well, she looks like Ty J, but come on, Ty J.
Fort Lauderdale.
Same.
Family members who lost loved ones in the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School massacre wiped away tears inside the Florida courtroom as a
death penalty case
across Florida met with Christian.
Family members who lost.
Okay, so this is a problem that I had with the news coverage. So they had to read all 17 counts. So when they got to each new count, they would read out the name, and the news had already found out where all the family members were sitting in the court. So they would go to one person, and they would go to another person, and then they would zoom in the camera right on the family members' faces and stuff. And I just was like, this just feels a little wrong. It feels a little wrong. And they knew exactly. So they knew as soon as they moved on to count 2, we got to move on to the next family and the next family after that. I mean, there were 17 counts that they had to read, and the judge had to read the same stuff over and over and over again. Like, the judge spoke for probably a good 40 minutes reading out all these counts.
Lost loved ones in the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School massacre wiped away tears inside the Florida courtroom as it became clear the jury was not recommending the death penalty for the shooter.
We, the jury, unanimously find that the aggravating factors that were proven
Man, he looks like a real creep.
beyond a reasonable doubt
He's going to get passed around for sure.
outweigh the mitigating circumstances.
Oh, look at this right here is the face of a father that just found out that his child's murderer is not going to die from the death penalty. And if you see the direction he's looking at, that is in the direction of the jury. Look at how mad as fuck this guy is.
Established.
Oh, he looks even more angry. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Look at the way this guy is mean mugging the jury. Look at how it just goes. Here, watch this. Hold on.
Beyond a reasonable doubt, outweigh
This guy would have killed him.
the mitigating circumstances established. No.
Ooh.
Instead, Nicholas Cruz, characterized by his lawyers as brain damaged and mentally ill, will be sentenced to life in prison without parole for the murders of 14 students and 3 staff members after the jury failed to unanimously agree to execute him.
They heard a lot of evidence, strong evidence, but also evidence that they believed that this shooter had been the victim of serious illness.
Oh. He was adopted, and then his adoptive family, they kicked the bucket, both the husband and the wife, his mom and dad as adoptive parents. And I'm not saying that gives him a reason, but back to what I was talking about, and I've always said, I'm not against the Second Amendment. I fully support the Second Amendment. You can create all the laws you want to, and guess what? Criminals don't obey laws. Just like the death penalty does not deter people from killing other people. It's just not. But if you want to do anything about these mass shootings and stuff, we got to start taking mental illness serious.
Remember, it's only one juror that needed to determine this.
Family members expressed their outrage and disappointment following the court proceedings.
I am so beyond disappointed and frustrated with this outcome.
Today's ruling was yet another gut punch.
Tony Montalto's daughter, Gina, was
holy double chin.
One of those killed.
This shooter did not deserve compassion.
Oh, and I agree. Look, like I said at the beginning of this, never had a family member or a loved one murdered. So maybe I would change my mind.
Did he show the compassion to Gina when he put the weapon against her chest and chose to pull that trigger?
Family members will get to speak on the record when they give impact statements at next month's.
That's going to be some red hot heat. I'm telling you right now, if they televise this, there's going to be, the networks aren't going to be able to show this because and I know that these loved ones, family members, they're going to be dropping F-bombs, sea-sucker, every single thing. I hope you get raped. I hope you get made airtight while you're in jail. Yeah, man, oh man, it's going to be the best roast. This will be any Comedy Central roast you're ever going to hear.
Sentencing. Christian Benavides, CBS.
Whoa, hold the phone. What's this guy's name?
Sentencing. Christian Benavides.
Christian Benavides. I don't even.
Sentencing. Christian.
You can tell this guy's a Miami reporter.
Sentencing. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's show. If you guys want to, I was looking back. I got so much content, the archive of the Tuddle Daily Podcast, especially the audio version. This is almost like 740 or so audio segments up there. Well, it's stuck in Dion Sub. And you know what? If I was on the jury, if somebody did sneak it up there and did kill him, I wouldn't find that guy. I would not find that guy guilty at all. I'd be like, yep. Just like that guy that killed, remember that guy that killed his child's abductor and rapist in the airport? He was like acting like he was talking on the phone and stuff. Yeah, I don't think that guy really did a day in jail either. And good for him. Yeah. Anyways, Check out the audio version of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. If you're out in your car and stuff, just search the Tuddle Daily Podcast. It's available on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Hopefully you guys stay safe, and I will talk to you tomorrow.